How's it going, everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back, Trader Hotline. How we doing? Good evening. Welcome back to the hotline. How's everyone doing tonight? Bob, what's up, man? T, Charmaine, GT, what's up, Danny? Tired, always tired. Hopefully not tonight. What's up, Ty? Lawrence, how's it going, guys? Welcome back, welcome back. Another beautiful Thursday night. Got some callers already tonight. So if you guys want to call in, make sure to call in on the phone number top left of your screen. I had some problems with the overlays today, so I need to make that a lot easier on myself. So I'm going to be working on that. So no fancy overlay on the screen today, but that's all right. What's up, Z? What's up, Joe? How's it going, everyone? How we doing? Loving the dark roast? Love to hear it. Love to hear it. I'm sure Nick loves to hear that too. Insider's Coffee Co. Yeah, I actually ordered a few more bags myself and got on a subscription because I ran out. I ran out of a lot of coffee and I need more. What's up? Is that Anna? Anan? John, what's up, man? Bugs, how we doing? Bugs always pushing. Love it. All right, guys. Well, welcome back to Trader Hotline. If you guys haven't been here before, if this is your first time here, you guys call in. We get some callers live on the stream. We talk about trading. We talk about some problems they may have or things they want to improve on, and just overall giving advice, free advice for you guys that show up. And it's a cool environment. It's chill. It's fun. And we'll be here for the next hour. So if you guys like the streams, we try to do them every Thursday. It's sort of a side gig for me. It's not something I'm fully committed to every Thursday. If there's a family event that pops up, sometimes the family comes first. It's one of those things. But we try to get here every Thursday as much as we can. And we are here tonight. Will be recorded. Yeah, each one of them is recorded. I am working on getting them out more consistently on the channel, but the goal is to record all of these and repost them on the channel. And yeah, I have a big I have them all recorded. I just haven't posted them, so I have them all. Just gotta get time to press the post button. Yeah, watch the pre-market video mostly. Thanks for stopping by. Tomo, Trader Hotline is a great idea. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it's still need to get it out more. I think people, once they show up, they love it. Just need to get the word out. So yeah, guys, if you want to call in, 239-372-9990. Call in, leave a message. Once you leave a message, Nick is on the other side, and he's reviewing the messages. And if it's a good one, if it's not some, bland question, if it's got some detail, if it's good for us, to mention and to answer, then we'll call you back. We can't get to everyone, unfortunately, but if you keep showing up, I promise we'll get to one of your calls for sure. Volume's a little low. Yeah, I see that. I'll try to talk closer. Raise up the volume, though. All right, Nick, we got any calls? How we doing?
Yeah, we do. I'm just listening to a couple more.
All right, sounds good. I'll keep talking to the group.
Yeah, keep talking.
All right, I'll keep talking. Let's go ahead and take a look at the market today while we wait for some more calls. Let some people call in. Let's take a look at the markets today, man. What a day. Geez. I mean, I heavily. What's this little cam on here? Let me take this overlay off real quick. Yeah, that's why. Actually, you know what? I mean, I'll just put my face over there. Why not? I got a little host cam in the corner here, so why not use it? Look at that. Host cam. Might as well use it, right? Let me extend these charts a little bit. There we go. With the little Desi host cam on the bottom right. Love it. So, man, today, not too much to say about it. Wild day. Definitely out of the ordinary, I would say. One of the worst midday sessions I have ever seen. One of the craziest moves. You are definitely starting to see that market environment that can get you pretty messed up, guys. Like, seriously, this is some pretty get messed up market action. And the best thing I did today was just walk away. I felt bad about it, right? Obviously we're on the group. We're trying to trade live. We're all hyped up after MU earnings. Emotions high. Greed levels are high. Everyone's like, yeah, let's have a great day, right? And then that shit happens. And then by like 10 o'clock, I was like, this is cooked. I was like, I don't see it, right? I just couldn't get a read on it, and I walked. So I ended up, being pretty happy with that decision after seeing what occurred the rest of the afternoon, which was a disaster, an absolute disaster. And so I think in hindsight, I think that was a pretty good call, and I'm happy I did so, because even in this after-hour session, I mean, look at this after-hour session here. After-hour session, straight up, straight back down, wild volatility. This is like 350 points, 400 points right here, right, to the upside and downside. So quick and aggressive, tight ranges. It looks tight, right? Like, these look tight on the NASDAQ, but this is anything but tight in terms of points. And so the reason this is really difficult right now is because you can't manage risk properly. It's very difficult to manage risk properly unless you size down very aggressively, because the ranges are just so wide. I mean, 100-point stop on the NASDAQ is like a minimum at this point, right? So pretty hard to trade this environment. If you're getting chopped up a little bit, definitely lay low. I'm laying low. I laid low today. I have a feeling I might want to just lay low until the end of this month. Just let this shit sort of figure itself out. I don't think I'll look back at this area on the market and say, wow, I can't believe I didn't trade that. I really don't. So I'm still taking my little scalps here and there, right? If I see something, if I see a low hold, I'll take a little scalp. If I see something, I'll still be active, but I try to remind myself in this environment that this is typically where I lose. This is typically where I give back my profits, and I'm doing my best not to do that this time around, right? So that's that, right? Wild MU straight up, gap fill straight back down, normalize back into the center point of the channel, right? That's all we really did. We extended, we re-extended, and we normalized, right? Normalized back within. So pretty crazy day. If you guys didn't really catch anything today, I wouldn't feel too bad about it. If you got smoked today, I wouldn't feel too bad about it either. This is definitely a day that I would see a lot of people getting smoked, and I don't think you did. I think the market was definitely I think you can improve upon it, right? I think you can improve upon it if you did get smoked. There's definitely things to improve upon, right? But I wouldn't say that it was any type of easy. So definitely, if there was ever a day to get smoked, I feel like this is the one, to be quite honest. I'd say the only way to not get smoked on a day like today is to look at that move off the open and quickly realize that that is not anything that aligned with your morning thesis, and to not try to catch it. Now, of course, I'm sure not everyone got smoked, guys. I'm sure there's many people that took the shorts, right? Many people that maybe long this low, right? I'm not saying that people can't trade this, 100%. Definitely some good trading out there, definitely wide ranges, definitely opportunistic, right? I am not someone that ever denies that, right? I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, no one traded successfully today. Yeah, bullshit, right? There's definitely trades out there, and people, I'm sure, if you caught it, well done. But it definitely a wild day, right? I didn't expect a 1,000-point sell-off to start the day. That was never part of a morning thesis for me. So when I saw that occur without any type of entry point there, I was just like, poof. Yeah. I was sort of like dumbfounded with the group today. I was like, I don't know, guys. I'm not really sure I was planning for this. So very much out of the ordinary. And I think if more people out there would work on like only trading when they're fully aligned and confident with what they see, I think that could be very beneficial for some of you guys, right? Like if something happens that you weren't planning, then don't force it, If you weren't planning to do this short and you did catch it, great. Just, you got to really ask yourself, did I have a real reason here? Did I have a true thesis to enter my trade today? Did I just try to catch onto the momentum? What was it? Right? Like I typically try my best to trade something that I planned for. That definitely helps me. It definitely, I think, has benefited me long term to retain profits, make profits, and stay profitable, is that I try my best to only trade things that are like something I planned for before the market opened. And when things go astray, when things go just like out of control, I'm just like, all right, let's either find something that we like intraday, right? Or let's take it easy, one of the two. And so got to be really careful when it comes to that type of very, out of the ordinary sort of a anomaly type move, right? Those anomaly type moves can catch you off guard. So what a wild day. MU did all right. Stayed green. Looks like it's failing a little bit here in the overnight session, but stayed green to end the day. Gave back its gains to start the day, sort of then chopped around the rest of the afternoon. SNDK was the strongest stock once again today, hitting all-time highs. Even with that morning sell-off, it grinded higher throughout the rest of the day, so that is pretty wild. Apple was extremely weak today, got torched on a bear flag rejection. This daily chart ended up being a pretty nasty bear flag, as you can see right here, so that's pretty nice. What a, big bear flag there on Apple. Microsoft continues to get sold off. Palantir continues to get torched. Software just continues to have absolutely no bid in the market. And it almost seems like if it's not memory, it's nothing. And that's a little concerning, right? I think that's why the market is getting a little bit shaky. It's because if memory doesn't support this market, then I don't know what is supporting this market. Nothing is supporting this market besides the memory move. Because if you take a look at Apple, it doesn't really seem like this would be something supporting market upside. If you take a look at Microsoft, this is absolutely not. This is so disconnected from current markets, right? Even a stock like Google, not bad. Definitely healthier than Microsoft. Meta, another one that's been nothing but selling off. So once that 4 gives up, if it does give up on MU and on memory, then we might be in for a little bit of pain. I'm definitely preparing for that. I'm definitely trying to mentally prepare for that pain because, the long term's not going to look too pretty at that point. But, hey, that's the market, guys. That's what we go through. So just got to stay nimble. Stay nimble. All right. Nick?
Yep, we're ready. I got Danny on the line. He's got a question about knowing when to switch sectors in his trading.
When to switch sectors. All right, I'm interested to see what he has to say. I'm interested when to switch sectors. Let's see what Danny has to say. Let's hope Danny can hear me. That's another thing. Danny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Vin, how are you, sir?
Good. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going good, brother. It's good to actually speak to you, man. I got to tell you,
Yeah.
I've been following you since way back in the "Can you bless me money wise" days, if you remember those days.
I definitely remember those days. Those are the best. Those were good. Those were good days.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you got for me?
One of my biggest problems, like I said, I've been following you for about 18 to 20 months now,
Yep.
and I love every second of it. I get stuck on having I have 8 stocks up. I'm using Charles Schwab charts, just like you chart on every morning
Yeah.
on the live, and I tend to get stuck constantly trading the same circle, Tesla, Palantir, for maybe 2 weeks
Yeah.
straight. And I just and I listen to you, and then you bring up a stock like DRAM, and I just wonder. My question is how do you get there? How do you know when to switch over to trading other stocks and switching sectors to not getting stuck and so easily leaving behind the stuff you've been trading on consistently?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the first thing is you don't necessarily have to switch what you're trading. You just have to understand whether it's, the direction that you will be looking in. So, for example, like Palantir, it's just important for you to recognize that the weakness is there and that, I should now be looking to play this to the downside. Now, it's difficult because, you have NASDAQ on certain days going up, but simply no strength on the stocks like you mentioned, like Tesla, Palantir, and Circle. And, you either want to, and I'm assuming you're asking this question because you'd like to trade alongside what maybe the broader market is doing, right? Is that sort of what you're referring to rather than trading something that's sort of disconnected and moving lower?
I just feel like I'm not. I got stuck at a point where I was trying to trade stocks that had consistent volume.
Yeah, so
and
they're
I
sort of dying
wasn't
off a little
focusing
bit.
on what was hot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's a great question because it's one of those things that's hard to explain, like where I figure out exactly, like, what's that point where I figure out what the hot sector is.
Right.
Really, the only answer to that is just being just always looking around the market and always staying in tune with, like, economic data and news outlets online. And you're always you're gonna hear, and I'm sure now that memory is the hottest sector, right? And where did you figure that out? Where did I figure that out? Right. And that's the right answer, right? It's someone like me, right? And how do I figure it out? It's someone else like, someone else, right? So how did I figure that out? To be honest, our community, right? Like we got this guy Chris in the community. Are you in the community, the Discord, or no?
I was, and
okay.
I'm not anymore, but I was, and I still watch you every morning.
So you might know who Chris Jones is. He's one of our members in the group, and he's someone that's like always on top of what's hot and what's moving. And to be quite honest, he's probably the main reason that I stay up to date with some of the hottest names. And so, like, where do I stay up to date with the hottest names? It's really it doesn't have to be my community. I'm not shilling my community. It's just staying in the ecosystem of other traders and focusing on what other people are talking about, because our 2 eyeballs are not enough. We don't have enough eyeballs and enough brain power to being like scanning the markets like a computer, right? And so more eyeballs on the market that you can talk to and you can refer to definitely helps, because you got, like, let's say 1,000 people in a group, you got 2,000 eyeballs. Hopefully everyone has 2. And you're, that's a lot more people watching what's going on. So that's definitely helpful. I would definitely continue to at least, stay in. I don't think there's benefit to being a lone wolf as a trader. I think there is benefit, whether it's a free group, maybe you don't want to pay for it. Maybe it's some kind of free news outlet, something that you don't have to pay for. There's benefit to not being a lone wolf. It's helpful to have more people in your ecosystem to be, sharing information and sharing ideas and sharing what's hot. But then also, right, you could have, you could watch ETFs and what are the strong ETFs like today. Always do your flips through the ETFs. Like today, financials to start the day were the hottest sector. So, maybe you're like, hey, financials have been hot. Well, how do I know that? I watching the XLF every day. Or, you're watching the SMH every day. Clearly, the semiconductors have been the hottest. And so from, this point forward, I think it's pretty easy to say that semiconductors and the supply chain of semiconductors will continue to be the best trading stocks on a daily basis. That's just very, very obvious at this point, right? So you, from this point forward, continue to watch the semis, continue to watch everything that surrounds the semiconductors, and, really pay attention to the outperformance versus underperformance on stocks versus the market, right? So like, if you look at Microsoft and you're like, what the hell is going on here, right? This thing's going straight down as the NASDAQ is holding. Why is that, right? I need to figure out what's going on. And so the reason for that is because software stocks, have been sold off heavily, right? Like they're being sold off. They're not, there's a fear behind software names and the, possibly them becoming less useful because of AI and AI services like Claude and people being able to do this stuff by themselves without a software business. So, staying in tune with stuff like that, understanding what's affecting sectors, and really just paying attention to all those things is definitely what I do. I don't do anything more special than that personally. I stay in tune with what other people are talking about. I do some sector analysis to understand why things are strong versus others, and I continue to just ride the hot hand. And so you've probably heard me on the live stream be like, I'm not trading Tesla, right? It's just not something I'm even interested in. It's been a terrible thing to trade. It's had ranges, no movement. And I think a lot of people, like, sort of what you're speaking about today, they get stuck and they're like, no, I trade Tesla every day. And I don't think that's a smart thing to do, right? You got to say, hey, Tesla's just not, giving me the opportunities right now. Let me focus on what's moving aggressively, what's moving, and what's being hot. AMD has been a great stock. That's been a nice opportunity. ARM has been a nice semiconductor stock and with nice ranges. So it's not being a lone wolf, keeping your mind open to what's the strongest sectors on the market. You could use things, you could easily, I don't know if you use Claude or ChatGPT or any kind of AI service like that, but that's a pretty easy, Gemini, that's a pretty easy prompt to ask it, like, what's the hottest names with the highest volume, in the market, what's the best day trading stock with the,
surprisingly, it just says SPY, Qs.
Yeah, so
IGV,
it's not great. Yeah, okay, so it's really not as. Yeah, it's not. It's
no,
not
but
perfect.
I mean, it's just giving the ones that have the most volume and the ones that are most traded. And you've already explained that 1,000 times in the last 2 years that I've been listening to you.
Yeah. I mean, I think here's how I'd leave you is. There's no reason to try to reinvent the wheel. Semiconductors are the stocks to be trading. It's the sector to be watching. That's pretty obvious. I would maybe from this point forward maybe align with that a little bit more. Or one of the best opportunities this week, to be honest, is trading the downside on underperformers. So just because they're not going up doesn't mean they're not great trades. Like Palantir to the downside, that was a fantastic trade over the last 4 days. So that fits in with, the trades that you take. You just have to understand, hey, this is clearly getting, this is clearly underperforming markets. And regardless of what the NASDAQ is doing, I'm going to look to see if this, Palantir sell-off continues. It's been a great trading stock to the downside over the last week. So I think just knowing if something's underperforming, knowing like Palantir breaking this major weekly low was a really big tell that downside could continue. And yeah, man, that's I think it's about all I have for you. I think the number one thing, the number one takeaway would be, and for me, the number one thing that is useful for me is being around other traders, being in some kind of a a community, whether it's your, 10 of your buddies, or maybe it's some people you find online, or maybe it's just X or something, some kind of useful community that at least has more eyes on the market and keeps people up to date with, what's hot and what's being traded. That's been, to me, the place where I get, I get all my information from our community. And, it's just, I created, of course, so it sounds weird that I say that, but it's a useful tool that, I can wake up and I know that there's going to be 20 people in the group that are already talking about some news that happened overnight, right? And I already know that. I'm like, oh, I wake up to it. I'm like, oh shit, what are people talking about? And then I'm like, oh, what's this? And then I go down that rabbit hole and I start to learn about what people are talking about. So that's how I do it, man. And I know that's not a great answer because that does require you to buy a service, right? But you can do it yourself. It just takes more time. It takes more research. It takes more, just looking around and scanning markets. That's really it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know. I could ask, I think a really more in-depth question, but I don't want to take up too much of your time if you have another caller. It's really about your transition from options into futures, and whether or not I noticed, that sign you got right behind you. We started out. Remember when you put that sign up, when you first put that sign up and we're changing the colors? You yourself said you wanted to change it from options insiders to everything insiders because you talk about everything in there. And with futures, I haven't indulged enough, but I do understand that there's no decay, there's no theta. And I think that, buying short expiration, expiring contracts that used to only expire on Thursday, and I don't know what's happened in the last 3-4 months, but now all of a sudden contracts are expiring on Monday, Wednesday, Friday on all these ETFs. That's different for me. I don't know I haven't heard anyone really talk about that, but that was a big difference that I noticed lately. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm doing very well with options, and I'm wondering what you would suggest into, is there paper trading for futures, or is there some sort of way that because I understand there's similarities, but I would like to know what you feel is the best way to kind of make that transition from options trading into futures trading.
Yeah. I'll keep this one short just because I know we're going to have more callers.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Sorry.
No, it's good. It's a great question. I have noticed on the futures that the ranges have been very wide, and so I feel like there's opportunity with that, right? Because there's moments in the market and the NASDAQ and S&P that are super tight and really not going anywhere, which is really what's happening right now in the market. And so I'm having, definitely feeling like I'm going to have to back off a little bit more with the tighter ranges that are going on. But overall, the movements in terms of points has been very large. And so there's lucrative opportunities when it comes to that. I also myself felt like I was not failing, but I felt like I was underperforming trading short-term expiration contracts for a moment in time this year. And so, it gave me interest into saying, hey, you analyze these futures levels every day. You're clearly very good at it. And, me talking to myself. And I'm like, why don't you try to take a real effort at, attempting to trade off your levels with futures? And, I found that most of my losses would not come from me being wrong in my thesis. It would come from me being either timed out of a trade or me having my options expire too short and the move not materializing in the time that I had on my position. And so I was getting frustrated that I was being timed out, or I was taking trades that were right, but they took 2 days to work out rather than 30 minutes, right? And so what I started to do was trade longer dated options, and that has been really good lately for me. Just being more focused on longer dated swing trades with more time. So I still trade options every day, basically. Last few days I haven't because I've just been holding this one position. But I'm still very interested in trading options. I have to be because these equity moves are great, right? And so I still want to take advantage of those. So still definitely focused on options, but I've been a little bit less focused on trading any kind of like zero DTE options. I always knew that was something that was going to be, something I wouldn't be doing forever. I don't really recommend trading zeros. It's if you're going to trade zeros, I would learn futures. That's what I would say.
Oh, you would go futures? Okay.
I would. If you're going to trade zeros, you might as well just day trade futures, because you get the same leverage and you don't have to worry about something not working in the next 5 minutes or your contracts are going to go to zero. So that would be like, that's what I'm doing. I'm day trading futures more, but I'm still looking for option swing trades. So I don't have to worry about short-term expiration, data decay on the futures, day trading, intraday, and then I can still take my equity positions with longer dated options, and that's sort of what I've been doing. So that's been my mindset lately, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's something you could look into. Say, hey, I'm going to maybe try some futures trading short term to just alleviate any kind of zero DTE risk, and if I still want to trade my equities, then I'll look for maybe 2 weeks out, a month out options, and I'll, be more patient and allow these trades to materialize and not feel like the clock is ticking against me, right? That's helped me a lot, and it's maybe something you could look into.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Vin. It's an honor to speak to you. I got to tell you, I'm watching you every day. You keep doing your thing. Forget all those Timmys and Jimmys, as you always say. Thank you so much for everything, man. You are the best. You keep doing your thing, all right, brother? And big shout out to my father-in-law, Papa Khan. He's always listening to me and helping me watch it with you. So thank you for everything you do, all right?
Appreciate
Have a good
that,
one,
man.
brother.
Have a great night. Thank you.
All right, later.
Peace. That's awesome. With the shout-out. I love the shout-out. It's like it's almost like we got 1 million people watching. I love it. That was awesome. Good call. I mean, good questions. Futures options, good question. Definitely been a little bit more focused on the futures lately. It's funny because this is something that I don't know if you guys know who Rake Trades is. Rake Trades, good guy. Talked to him quite a bit. And, it's like people love to react to like, if you trade options, you can't trade futures. If you trade futures, you can't trade options. It's like two different sides that are like fighting against each other. Man, it's at the end of the day, it's the same thing, right? I mean, it's trading, right? So like, I don't really understand people that feel like they can only trade one. It's sort of dumb. You need to get over that. It's just another trading product. It's still trading. It's still everything we look for every day. So yeah, man, I've done well with it. I've obviously I've made quite a bit over the last month and a half. And why not keep trying it, right? It's working, so keep playing it. And, that's what I've been doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like I think people look at it as like, oh, it's this guy can't trade options anymore. It's like, no, man, it's just, there's really no difference. I've enjoyed a few things about the futures that I didn't enjoy with the options. So, still love it. Still going to trade options for the rest of my life. That's where I've made tremendously more money on options than futures. So, there's nothing wrong with it. If you guys trade both or if you trade one, then it's all the same shit, really. Let's get another call in.
I'm ready.
All right, Ace, I'll answer your question in a second, but Nick, what do we got?
We got Stefan. It's a question about getting into a trade and then getting out and then seeing the move happen and end up getting in too late then and doing that over and over again.
Okay, let's do it. Stefan, can you hear me?
What's up?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, bro. What do you got for me?
First off, I want to say I don't know how you came up with this idea about this hotline, but it's brilliant.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I gotta
bringing it full circle back to the hotline.
Yeah, I gotta do better at getting it out there. I feel like once people learn about it, they love it. But I just kept it under wraps. So yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, I think these things just just with time, it's just like it's slow, and then all of a sudden overnight, it's just like boom.
Yeah, hopefully it blows up.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, you got a good following, and if you could help some people, I mean,
Yeah.
this is tremendous.
That's the goal.
The best way to learn is really just share experiences and relate with others that are doing the same thing or making the same mistakes, so that like you're not the only one.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyways, two major problems that pretty much I feel like if I can solve these, I would be a very profitable, consistent trader, and I could probably do this for a living. I think one of them you touched on a few weeks ago, but the first one is like you find a setup, you find an entry, you take the trade. Maybe it's kind of not going, or maybe it starts to go, and you think that was the move, and you get out, or it hits one of your levels, and you get out. You made a good profit, like maybe I made 25% or whatever, and then the move keeps going, and it's like, dang, did I miss like a bigger move? Like, is it going to keep going? Like, maybe I should get back in. And instead of taking a step back and, resetting and finding a new entry to get back in, if this thing is going to keep going, I just get back in immediately. And then sometimes this thing just does a fake out, turns right back around, and then wipes out the profit that I just made. And it's like, this happens to me like, time and time again. I'll be disciplined for a while, and then I'll fall back into this.
Yep.
I don't know if this is something you experience.
Yeah, so here's what this has a lot to do with mindset. So the first thing I want you to think about is if you already know that your mind is going to go to that, I should get back in, it's still going mindset, then actually let me back up. How many contracts do you trade with, or how many, what's your position sizing? Is it more than one contract if you're trading options?
Yeah, it's more than one contract.
Okay, so why not, right? If you know that your mind is going to head to that, right, and you're always going to default back to, I wish I held that, or, if this thing keeps going, like if you already know that that's where your mind's going to default, you already know what I'm going to say, right? Why not just hold a single contract, right? Like here's where one contract goes a long way. It means absolutely nothing to your end P&L, right? Like it's almost pointless. Like if you had 10 contracts and you took 9 off at 25%, if you hold one contract, you're pretty much you're solidifying a green trade, and there's no way that one contract will go against you and make you turn red, right? Now, one contract will also make you feel like you're still part of the move, right? And it'll be like, okay, I'm still holding something and it's still going, and this is great, right? Like I'm still at least making something out of the move that is still going on. Because in my opinion, why not just hold something that's up 25% versus re-entering and starting over your cost basis back at zero, right? Why not just hold the position that's already up, 25%, 30%, whatever it might be? It's, psychological, right? It's because you don't want to see the profits go back down, but you're just as quick to just start a new position at a zero cost basis, or like a break-even point, right? So you're more likely going to see a red P&L if you start the position over, right, versus just holding the runner that's up 25%. So it's a big mental thing,
because it gets into a level, it gets close to a level, and it's like kind of a resistance and starts stalling a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I think this is a move. I hit my level, I'm good. 25% is great, and if that adds up every single day, it's just like,
oh, it's fantastic. There's nothing. So here's the thing, right? There's nothing wrong with what you do taking that off at 25%, but you need to understand that you can't think those here's where people have a really hard time with trading, right? They think two ways that are impossible to be. You can't have what the saying is, have your cake and eat it too, right? You can't take profits off and be happy because it's hitting rejection points and be like, hey, this was a good trade, 25%. That's all I need to do. Take my profits, get out, right? You can't think like that, and then also think like, oh my God, it's still going. I should have held. I need to keep holding. Like, you can't. How is that even possible to mentally think those two things, right? You have to choose one, right? Is it I'm happy with 25%, or is it I'm going to try to extend my wins and not sell fully at 25%? So you have to choose one. Okay, you can't do both. And here's why you can't do both.
Switches real fast. It's like, man, I'm in one mindset and then move to the other.
Right. And here's why you can't do both, because you can't have every trade be a different discretionary decision. Okay. So you can't have today I'm going to look to take profits at targets, and then the next day I'm going to try to extend winners. You need to find what you're going to do consecutively every day. What is the system?
That's what you're talking about this morning or
right,
yesterday morning.
Everything has to be the same. So every trade I'm going to take half off, or I'm going to take 3/4 off at 25% if it's up into your level, into a supply level. And I'm just going to hold one to see if it continues. If it rejects that supply and it does end up failing, so be it. I'll lose some off the top because of my one runner that I held. And maybe that's what you do, right? Okay, entry point, hit my target, it's at supply. I think this could be a rejection point, but I'm not going to get fully out. I'm going to take 90% off. And by some chance, if it breaks through the supply and it keeps going, then I'll be happy because I held one, right? Or you have to then say, right, if it rejects, if it fails and it goes back lower, you're just going to say, hey, that's all good. I took 90% off. I tried to extend it. It didn't play, stopping the rest out at break even or at my stop loss. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, that's the way I would go. That's what I do, right? I rarely take my whole position off, and I talk about this. I don't know if I talked about it publicly, but I've had it in a few. Had it on a Chart Academy that just came out. Shout out Chart Academy. Make sure to go watch that. My P&Ls, my trades never end at their peak P&L. What does that mean? My green trades never end at the highest green they were. Why? Because I'm always allowing it to try to continue. But eventually, if you try to let something to continue, it's going to eventually reverse on you, right? It's not going to go up forever. And so I don't try to be out of a position at the peak P&L, right? I'm not trying to hit the peak and get fully out. I'm looking to get out on the run up, allow it to materialize and see if it can continue. If it does start to curl back lower on me, I'll exit my last one and understand that, hey, I was up 10 grand, but I ended up walking away with 8 grand. But that mindset can become, right, I was up 10 grand, I kept holding, now I'm up 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, right? Because I have the mindset that I'm okay to see it curl back lower against me and understand that I'm not trying to top tick my full exit, right? I don't need to be like, that's where people, when they trade with P&L, they can't accept that I was once up 5 grand and now I'm only up 3 grand and now I'm pissed off.
You feel like you took a loss even though you're in the green.
Right. But if you can be okay with that, then you can be okay with holding positions, right? Like the reason why people get out so quick is they're like, I don't know if this is where it's going to go down from here. I don't want to see me give back any profits. I'm out, right? And then they say, well, I probably should have held because it's still going, right? Yeah. And so I think what you have to do, moral of the story here is you have to be accepting of allowing, and I say this all the time, you have to give back some to make more, right? You have to be able to give back profits to be able to make more profits.
Yeah, I like that.
That's like the most important thing. And it's all mindset, man. It's 100% mindset. There's nothing to do with there's obviously parts to do with technicals, like making sure you're scaling out at known rejection points, right? Yeah. Like, and I sometimes do well at that. I sometimes don't, but I think, it's very important to be saying, hey, we're up into supply. I'm out a quarter. I'm out 2 quarters. I'm out 3 quarters. And I'm going to continue to try to run it, but I need to at least take some off here, and then allow it to keep running, and not try to, and allow a position to give back some profits. If that's what it has to do, that's what it has to do. That's the only way to extend. And I think it's just a true it's a true acceptance of that. That would be my answer to you.
Yeah, I think
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's gold right there. That's good info.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
anything
because
else?
I feel like
Go ahead.
sometimes, like, you know, I try to get back. I try to get back to that peak P&L before I get out, like,
Yep.
you know, and not accept that it went
I think
down.
you just
from,
gotta
like,
you gotta accept what you got. I would try to stay. I don't think I've ever I mean, man, I'm trying to think about this. I don't know the last time I have exited a profitable position and then re-entered it because it kept going. So that's something I guess I would say I'm good at, is when I exit a position, I'm out of the position, and if it's still going, then I guess, you know, I'm actually surprised with myself, because I'm guy, like, I do the same shit everyone does, okay? Like, I'm a human. I make really stupid things. I make really dumb mistakes at times. I have the same tendencies that everyone in this chat has. So, like, it's sort of shocking to me to even come to that realization. Once I exit a trade, I'm out of that trade, man. And if it keeps running, it keeps running. That's sort of how I do it, because I think what's more painful in my mind is getting back in, being wrong, and giving back profits. That's painful. And so I guess I do a good job of avoiding that pain. I think I've probably felt that pain way too many times. And I was sick of it probably. And I'm just like, I can't keep doing this. So I think that's why I try to extend as much as I can, because I'd rather just hold the thing that's up and I'm profitable on, and I have a good entry point on, and it's up 25, 30, 40%. And if I have to give some back, right, if it was up 40% and I end up exiting at 20%, then that's better than me getting back in and
being at zero.
Right. Yeah. That's my thought
good.
there.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. I like that.
Awesome, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, man.
The next thing, if you have a second.
Yeah, go ahead. I got 3 minutes.
Think you touched on, like, how sometimes the market will bless you and give you a second chance and do something crazy and just whip around and take you from, like, deep in the red to, like,
you
know, crazy win. I guess sometimes, like, I trade based on those experiences that I've had, and not and like going away from the system and my rules, because it's like, well, I've experienced this before, maybe it'll happen again. Maybe the market will bless me again.
That is called bad habits, right? The market is creating bad habits. I think you just got to stick to something. Like, you got to stick to something every day, because the market provides way too many opportunities for us to just make discretional decisions, right? Just like one-off decisions that have no basis and just aren't part of any kind of, you know, strategy or system. So when we start sort of trading on discretion like that and just sort of, you know, letting things go because hopefully I get blessed, you know, this is not trading. This is just, you know, this is just throwing money at the wall and hoping it sticks. So yeah, definitely gotta cut that out. I would highly recommend having a stop loss, sticking to it. It's painful when we get stopped out at times, but, you know, there's a reason why we stop out at trades, man. You know that.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Well,
I'm gonna cut it here.
Your wisdom.
You got it, man.
It's great stuff, man.
Have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too. Good luck.
All right. All right. Very nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people would have a lot of benefit to learning to extend trades mentally. Is one of the most beneficial things you could do. A true acceptance of risk and just cutting profitable trades off too early is probably the most limiting thing that people do, right? Like, you're in a great trade, it's working. Why are we limiting that, right? Because we're scared to give back some profits. It's definitely one of the most limiting things for a lot of traders, and I think, you know, that could be a really big focus for some people, is like, how do I just extend, right? And get comfortable with the position I'm in. Really, really important. No question. Been trying to catch you live. You're saying the best. Appreciate that, Isabella. Thank you. Appreciate those words. Thank you for all the support, guys. You know what I'm going to do, Nick? I think I'm going to answer some chat for 10 minutes and then we'll call it. So we got two calls in today. I'm sure there's more. I probably need to do a better job of keeping calls shorter, but you know what? Just let it flow naturally, right? So let's see. What do we got in the chat here? Let me answer some chat here. Let me go ahead and pop it up. Let's put it on the screen. And let's answer some chat. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna start right around here. In training, I was losing when the market became choppy after a big move. How to control risks and how to define no trade zones. I would definitely come to the live stream, man. We definitely define no trade zones pretty often and talk about how to expect chop. For example, here on the NASDAQ futures right now, I mean, look at this, right? So it's pretty easy to say we expect chop within this very clear range. We have highs, we have lows, and we can clearly see the chop that has ensued, right? So if you don't adapt to this, that's when people are like, how do I adapt to this? Well, just look, right? Open your eyes, okay? That's very clearly going to be chop. Like, you can see it, but, you have to walk in and say, hey, this is going to be chop, and I have to stick to that. If it gets out of this zone, then it can continue, but for now, this is going to be a very difficult range to trade. A lot of back and forths, a lot of good trades that go back to break even, right? That's just how this is. So I think it's all about charting, right? I think it's all about charting and realistically looking at those charts. Yeah, Ninja Trader has free. You can also trade on on Thinkorswim, TradingView for free if you're looking to trade futures, paper trading futures. Traveling stop loss. Yeah, you could definitely use a trailing stop. I think that's definitely an option for trying to hold winners longer, is just sort of trailing your stop higher and higher. Put a note on my computer not open it after making a decent profit. Yeah. I mean, I think you just got to, again, this all comes back to just accepting your risk, accepting your risk and accepting what you got. Getting in too early. Been working on patience. John, good question. So I think what's, it's hard to say, John, but it's hard for me to put like a time on it because you can't really say that you have to wait, let's say 30 minutes or an hour before you trade. I think that helps people, right? I think some people do wait that time frame, and I think they probably do better if they do that. So that could be something you do. But if there's a really good setup early morning, I'll still take that risk. I think it's just a matter of you having to know. I think what a lot of people mistake getting in too early for is actually just not knowing exactly what a good setup looks like, right? Like, if a good setup occurs at 9:35, then it's just as valid if it occurs at 10 o'clock, I think. But here's the truth, right? Not as many good setups occur at 9:35, right? But we mistake them for a good setup. And then we lose, and then we think it's because we got in too early, right? Think about that. So I think it's just a matter of how good the setup is. If it's that good 5 minutes in, it's just the probability of a good setup at that time frame is probably pretty low. So, is it too early or is it just not a good setup? Think about that. Ace. Yeah, what was your question up there, Ace? I know you had a question about futures, right? How do you switch over to trading futures? So for me, there's really no switch, right? It's the key levels that we always trade off of and always watch, right? We know that. It's always the same key levels. We're always watching the same spots on the NASDAQ or on individual equities. And it's the same type of mindset, right? It's the break and retest longs. It's the bounce off demands. It's the same thesis that we always trade on equities. It's just, you're pressing a buy or sell button on Tradeovate versus buying an option contract. It's really not as different as people make it if your trading strategy is something that is transferable to any market, right? So I think, do some research on futures platforms. I think trading a prop firm would be a great start for a lot of people. I actually do like props for new traders, for beginners, to like at least get the feel of what futures are like. I think that's better than putting your own money in and blowing it all up. So that would be my personal recommendation there. Mindset classes, yeah, we have them once in a while. We have a master class coming soon in the next few months, and so be on the lookout for that. Break and retest. Sometimes the break, then retest again. Why is this showing up here? Damn it. How do I get that back? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I mean, this happens a lot in like choppy channels, right? So I think the break and retest, what's really important with the break and retest is understanding if the market is in the market condition for the break and retest. Okay, so the break and retest, and why we're gonna end on this question because this is a good question. The break and retest is not good. Okay, and you have to know this. The break and retest is not a good strategy inside of sideways channels. It's terrible, actually, but you have to know that. You have to understand that. Like for example, this is what you would say is a break and retest. There's no break and retest at this level. There's breaks. There's some pullback. There's, break above it, fail back under, break. Here's a break and retest that held, but look how inconsistent that is. Why? Why is that inconsistent? Because it's in this sideways channel. And so being able to identify the condition of the market and knowing if your strategy is going to work inside of it is very important. The break and retest is it's necessary. With the break and retest, it is absolutely necessary to be in a continuation market, okay? Whether either direction, but it has to be in continuation. It has to be a trending move. So that is a really big thing that I try to help people understand on the live streams as much as I can. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me tonight. 8:57. We had 2 good calls. We got everything recorded. I'll make sure to get those out as soon as I can. I hope that I answered as many questions as I could tonight. If you guys enjoy this channel, make sure to press the like button. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to let people know about the channel. Let's continue to grow it. We got Nick in the chat answering questions. Just planning to join the Discord. Do the levels come with it? They do. They come with the pro plan. Yes, they do. Good job, Nick. Yeah, that's it. Nick, any last words for the group?
No, thank you for calling in. Keep showing up and keep asking good questions.
All right. When's the next hotline? It's every Thursday at 8 p.m. But I would follow my Instagram. It's down in the I think it's down. Do I have the Instagram down there? I don't. Wow.
We'll try to keep sending the emails as well.
Yeah, we send the emails if we're going to do it or not. So make sure to I don't even have the email thing on there. So I got to do better at I have to do better at growing this channel. Let me just put on Trader Hotline the Instagram here. So follow this Instagram. I'm put it in the chat. If you don't have Instagram, make sure to, if you got the email tonight, then just stay with those emails. Follow me, right, anywhere on Instagram. I'll make sure to let people know if we're doing it. But pretty much every Thursday, man. If it's not, if you don't see it show up on a Thursday, then I definitely said it somewhere that we're not doing it. I try my best to keep you guys updated, but every Thursday, 8 p.m. Just know that. All right, my friends. Hope you have a fantastic night. And let's end the week strong tomorrow. I'll see you guys on the morning live stream, 8 a.m. on my main channel. You can, you guys know my main channel. So make sure to check that out. I'll see you tomorrow.